Hey everyone, welcome to What's Happening in Real Estate this week. We got Conrad Zerini from Remax Escarpment and Remax Niagara, big broker, and we got Brian Hogbin, Mission 35 Mortgages, and myself, Rob Golfi with Remax, the Golfi team. Now, what I love about talking about is Conrad's organizational skills that he has, and he's got the appointment centered stats that he comes out every week. And I was reading about this, and you were saying on your memo of the stats was that what a difference 50 basis points makes as we approach the end of October, where today's the end of October. And Conrad, tell me, did that make that much of an 11% difference? You said.
A huge difference. It's remarkable. And the thing is, we've never seen, so we're always looking at the new listings to sales ratio. Usually it's like, 50%, which means it's a balanced market. But at Remax Escarpment and Remax Niagara, it was like 120%. As a matter of fact, we exceeded listings by 20%. So we had 306 listings and 360 sales. So we overshadowed the listing. So now we're starting to see this new inventory getting gobbled up, the old inventory getting gobbled up. And a huge change that 50 basis points made.
Yeah, you know what? And you're right about that, because we're starting to see some sales that we had listings sitting for months, and now they're starting to get showings, and they're getting offers, which is awesome. So right now, I'll tell you, buyers, you better get in there, because if you're not, I'm telling you, it's going to change. We are in the change time right now for when it goes from buyers to sellers. So and then appointments, you always say Fridays is always a busy day.
Yeah.
People are booking for the weekends. And Hamilton, I guess the number 2 spot was the 550 to 600 range, or the current. And then in Halton, the $2 million mark, and then Niagara, this previous week or current week is 650 to 700,000. So things are picking up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, the numbers are the other thing. So what I did was I looked at what did we do in September? We did 608. So all of our markets, let's take Niagara, Haldeman, Halton, and all the markets you trade in, and Hamilton. And there was 687 sales, residential sales in the month of September. Okay. October had 1,419. Okay. Now, but the interesting thing is both times, and a lot of agents are saying, oh, I'm seeing more and more competition, but is it real? So in September, only 19% went 100% or more. In October, only 19%, 100% or more. But this is the fun fact. This last week from the 23rd on, it was 50% of the sales were that small group of that 20% was 100% or more. So we did 50% of the sales in the last week over 100% or more, and it was 104% of asking before the announcement. Now it's 104.5. So just in a week, we went up like 0.5 in a week. And, when you're talking $1 million or 800,000, that's real money, man. It's real money, right?
Yeah, so. No. What a difference. And it's too bad they didn't do this at half point a month earlier. That is the mistake I think they made. And if they only did a quarter point, it wouldn't, I think it would have moved just a tiny bit, not as much as it did now. So now we're on the right path. Things are going to start moving. And I'll tell you, in February next year, I'm always going to say it, that's going to be the start of a busy market. And you're going to see buyers. I'm telling you, I don't get it. If you're sitting on the fence thinking about buying a house, you're crazy not jumping in now. Get a closing date for next year. You can do that now. Get a 3-4 month closing date.
There's always a lagging effect on it, right? Like seeing the half a point drop, you've got the early adopters that are moving into it right now, the people that were pre-approved, the people that are seeing the opportunity that you guys are talking about. But I'm certain that in February, March, Tiff Macklin's going to get criticized again for not reducing rates soon enough. Just like he got criticized for not increasing rates before, but you're still going to see those down. And I think to your point, Rob, there, February, March, you'll see probably another half to 3/4 reduction in the market. And you'll see a lot of people still moving into the market. So I agree. Now is the time.
So do you think there will be another quarter point down this year?
Oh, I think you might see another quarter. Yeah, I think in December.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to get to what they call the neutral rate. The
Right.
neutral rate is a rate that doesn't require any reduction and doesn't require any stimulus. Like it just sort of stays the same balance. They're saying the neutral rate should be 2.75% right now, approximately. We're at 3.75. So that's another 1 point that's built into reductions in the marketplace over the next 6 months, probably you'll end up seeing. So of course things can change, but that's what they're forecasting right now.
Yeah, I think Tiff is he's even insinuated a little bit that 50 basis points might come again in this year.
Yeah.
So we might see it. We might even see it this year. And like, so don't go away this Christmas. It's going to be a good time to buy a house. I'll tell you.
For sure.
And Brian's point last week was brilliant because of this whole piece of like, if you're closing in 120 days, you've got the world by the tail. If you're a buyer right now,
100%.
you can dip your toe in. I can go variable, see what happens, and then you know what I mean. If it doesn't do it, then I can jump into fixed. Like this is the most ideal time to be in this business.
For sure.
To be buying right now.
For sure.
Yep.
You know what? Right now, I'll tell you something. Get a contract, buy a house with the option to change the closing date sooner or later. You know what I mean? Like maybe 30 days. Like say you got 30. I may want to advance the closing date or extend it just in case that like the mortgage, like let's say the announcement's happening. And now this is a good time to actually close your deal after any announcement. So do we have the days that they're doing the announcements in the new year, Brian?
Is that a couple of interesting ones coming up? We've got Tuesday, November 5th is going to be an interesting date for the fixed rates, not for the variable, because depending on the outcome there, and this is why we're telling everybody, lock into take the fixed rate for your pre-approval right now. 120-day close, and then wait to see what happens, see whether you want to switch it, because you've got the election, you've got Bank of Canada meeting again in December, then you've got all the Bank of Canada dates coming up next year as well.
So, but do you have the January, February, March dates of announcements?
Are they out yet? Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're out.
They're out already. Yeah. Well, this is.
I don't have them memorized, but they're on.
They're out there. They're out there.
You have them tattooed or something. But anyway, this is the only time to suck and blow in the mortgage business, right? Right?
Exactly.
This is the only time you can have the best of both worlds. It's like I'm more excited about, like for these buyers. And again, anybody that buys a t-shirt, anybody that buys a house, Rob will give you a free t-shirt. I wish I would have bought it in the fall of 2024, but I did.
Yeah, exactly.
January, March, April. So January 29th will be the one in the new year. March 12th. And then April 16th, June 4th.
Close on March 15th. That's it. Yes. March 14th, 15th. Yes. Close. That's a good closing day.
Totally.
Well, I'm telling you.
And you got all the new mortgage rules coming out in January, December as well, too, right? So now, if you're a first-time buyer and you're purchasing between that 1 million to 1.5, you can't qualify today, but now you can relook at it when rates are different. Yeah. Maybe those rates are lower and you can qualify under a different program under that time too. So lots of options for buyers right now, especially if you blow out that closing date.
I think they'll all be pleasantly surprised when they close, right? You know what I'm saying? They'll be many of them will be, when they're coming to the closing, if it's 120 days or 90 days out, they'll be very surprised with what they can do. And this is a great time to make a move, right? And even look, if you've been sitting around and, even if you're like a first time buyer or what have you, get mom and dad over the holidays. This is the time to say, hey, mom and dad, give me money for my RSP. Okay. Give me money for my RSP. I'll collapse it in 90 days. Right. And this is the way to do it. I wouldn't just take the money for the down payment. I'd say, give me money towards my RSP. I'll collapse it. It's going to force me to save and replenish it. This is the time. It's like the win-win. Down payment.
100%. That is great advice to bank of mom and dad. 100%.
Go to Christmas time.
Yeah.
Go to your
Christmas
parents.
time dialogue.
Say, I know I don't say it often. I know I don't say I love you often, but I really love you more now than ever before.
Nothing says love like maxing out my RSP. Nothing says love.
I will make sure I will miss next Christmas, even though I missed the last 10, but I do love you and I will make sure I'm there. That's it. That's it. Oh, no kidding. An article came out I think about a week ago,
Yep.
and it said that Pierre Pauvet said private investors have taken over the housing market. We kind of knew that a little bit. Like we know condos don't get built without private investors buying it. And it says that accounting up to 1/3 of all home purchases in the past few years. In some cities, that problem is even worse. In Edmonton, for example, researchers have found that almost half of the purpose-built rentals are owned by big money investors. Now, now they're saying that immigration is not what's causing this. It's the investors. Well, they're never going to get rid of the investors because investors know that real estate is one of the best investments in the world to own, and especially in Canada. And
But it's shifting. Like I think needs are shifting, and I think in those, I predict that it's the last rights to the micro condo unit, and we're seeing, if you want to be an investor now, and look, and it's. Warren Buffett, they keep showing it over and over again. I wish I would have bought like 1,000 single family detached houses, right? So I'm thinking it's going to be bigger units for investors because I'm thinking I'm actually seeing tenants coming. It's 2 people, 2 friends, right? And they're coming because they like the space. See, the micro unit, you don't have the space. Like when 2 people rent a 2-bedroom, you got a bigger living space, bigger kitchen. You're not confined. So there's a shift. And I think those micro units are going to take a little bit of time to be absorbed. But yeah, I think there's a moment here for investors. Single detached, I think the capital growth on single detached is going to be pretty amazing. But yeah, it's going to be it's a part of the economy. It's part of the market, right?
They need it. They need it to build because these investors eventually sell to the public.
Right.
And they end up thinking that's how these condos get built. I mean, how long does it usually take a building to transform from renters to owners? It takes probably what, 5 to 10 years?
Oh yeah, 5-10 years. Yeah.
5-10 years.
Now that 10 years, you know what? From the time you decide to buy the dirt, it's like this is a 10-year thing. Yeah, it's 10 years now. Yeah, so it's a long-term affair, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but
I think the immigration conversation is interesting though too, because I was looking at numbers because the big headlines were about the reduction in immigration that you guys saw. But I was googling.
Yeah, that's been coming out. They're trying to reduce the immigration, but they need these I mean, even though it's costing Canadians a lot of money to have these guys, they're rolling the dice and hoping that these guys are going to be paying tax dollars on money like when they get jobs. And
the immigration is still it's still really high. This is the immigration is still going to outpace building permits, right? When you look at immigration from 2015 to 2019. We were up to 340,000 a year. And then we went up to 1 million or 1.2. But now they're reducing it. When they say they're reducing it, it's still going to be 365,000 to 380,000. It's still higher than normal. It's still trending up based on outside the anomaly. So not saying that immigration accounts for the lift, but we're still going to see a lot of supply and demand issues because we're still going to be bringing in a lot of people into the country, which outpaces the build.
Oh, guaranteed. And a lot of these guys, I don't know, do they like condos? I don't think so. These immigration, they need to build more houses, townhouses, semis, whatever. They need to, they're slowing that down, and all these developers now are getting into the condo business because there's more money involved, and it's just one small parcel land they buy, and then they just get a contractor to start building these high rises. But are they building any more subdivisions?
No, they're not. As a matter of fact, single family is down dramatically in Ontario. So the thing is, a couple of these, 26,000 units are coming on stream in Toronto, high rise units. When that whole kind of comes to a head, I think these builders are going to realize that they have to go back on the ground. Yeah. And they have to do some provisional things, maybe these basements with walkouts and so 2 family. I think that's what you're going to see. 2 family, 2 people getting together, 2 families, multi-generational. They're going to have to look at it that way. It's going to not be cheap, but it's going to be purposeful. and it's
Yeah.
going to fit the bill for this new clientele that is coming into the market that needs this
Well,
space in multi-generational homes.
you're right. They need walkouts for all. You're
Yeah.
going to see a lot of houses with walkouts. What about the
Yeah.
parking issue? Because these subdivisions aren't big enough. Like, I mean, they're not
Oh.
deep. They're not deep enough
Yeah.
to fit 4 cars. Maybe 2 cars wide. That's it. If they're
Oh,
lucky.
it's terrible. Yeah,
Like-
you go to
like-
some sub. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have issues with that, but I don't know. Like, it's just I every time, but they got to keep building these. You're right, Conrad, on the ground, building these semis, townhouses, single detached homes. Those are going to become so expensive if they don't start building more of those right now. They're going to be it's going to be a luxury item down the road if you live in one and own one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I could see developers building walkouts in their basements, like a secondary, like a walkout from their basement, so people can build apartments down there.
You know what? The next one you should do. Why don't you know what? For the next build, why don't you build it and throw in a car? So then the duplex, they can share the car and have a car share program. Put it in there.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
You're getting the
car share
car to go with the in-law as well too, and then you guys all share a car. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Oh, no kidding. It's crazy out there. It's crazy. So, anything else happening that we should know about? Anything else? You're going to be talking about stuff on Friday. What are you going to be? Tomorrow.
Actually,
That's
yeah,
tomorrow.
I'm going to say, like, again, that 50 basis points, the difference of 50 basis points. And, it's funny, I talk to realtors all the time. I'm seeing more competition, but there wasn't. Maybe in the last week there was. So there's a lot of that going on. And you know what? And there was a great study that came out about young people wanting to buy homes. And it's still very, very strong in Canada. I think that's something we can't forget. And that's what I was saying. Go to your parents for your RSPs. This is the time to do it. And I think this is the time to kind of really communicate. How do I help my kid buy? What does the paperwork look like? You know what I mean? And how do I protect me? And how do I protect the little lovebirds? And how do I protect me, the parent? You know what I mean? When the little lovebirds separate. So there's all those kind of things. But that's what's going to come down the pipe, I think. And it's going to be more and more part of this, what we do every day, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, anything else there, Brian? Looked like you were going to say something.
Just to Conrad's point, we talk a lot about home ownership. I'm really to helping out your kids, because I look at it like a career. The average homeowner, it's not just to buy the house to build wealth for 3, 4, 5 years. The average homeowner owns a home for 30 years. So you think if the sooner you help your kids buy a house, the more wealth they can build. If you help your kid buy a house when he's 25, imagine what he's going to be like or she's going to be like at 50, 55. But if they're waiting until their 30s or 40s to buy a house, it just takes longer. So, when you look at that lifespan, it's such a wealth changer. So help the kids out doing it. I really agree with that, Conrad. It's a great point.
In between 2014 and 18 was the tail end of affordability. If I'm correct. So there was this lady in 2014, she purchased a townhouse for $220,000 in Niagara Falls. Okay. She was only earning about $45,000. She did need a co-signer, and she also had a second job to afford that house. Now, if she did not buy that house, if she waited another 4 years, there's no way that she could afford that house ever. Like with her income, there's no way. Now she makes double that money now. She makes about $90,000 a year, and she still lives in that house, and she's comfortable. But a person $90,000 a year, that house now is about $660,000 to $700,000.
Yeah,
that income, $90,000 won't manage that with 20% down, or would it?
No.
Like with a $500,000 mortgage, she could. Hey, Brian, would that work? So like look at that. And then I was looking at my parents. They bought a bungalow in 1964. Okay. Now my dad worked at GM. At GM, worker back in 1964-65 was earning between $2 and $3 an hour. So that was between, let's say it earned $9,000 income a year, 1965, let's say. Yeah. Okay. They bought a house for $15,000. Okay. So gross salary, $9,000.
Yeah.
Purchase price, $15,000.
2 times income.
Yeah. 2024, same house on the same street. There was one that sold for $650,000. Let's say my parents sold their house. They had a little more. They added a garage and a little more. They changed the style a little bit of the house, make it better. Let's say it's 670. Let's round it off to 700,000. Okay. the average GM worker now is making between $40 and $45 an hour. Would you say that's about right? That's $80,000-$90,000 a year.
Mhm.
So that is 7 times, 6
Yeah.
to 7 times.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's
So
insane.
it's insane. That's today. But in 2014, it was only 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
See?
yeah. So we went from 2 times to 4 times. Now we're at 6, 7 times.
Yeah, almost 8. Yeah.
8. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. Anyway, guys, listen, thanks so much for being on. And we're going on to 3.5 years on this thing. Eh?
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's not going to stop. You guys,
No.
are you guys ready?
Totally.
Wait,
Bring on the next 3.5, baby.
Look, I even brought my Groom magazine.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Look.
Halloween. You guys forgot Halloween.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
right.
go like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been the only guy with it on. I thought no one's wearing a costume, so I kind of.
Well, because I wore one last year and you guys didn't. So that's,
I
you know,
didn't
I
want to be
remember.
the outcast.
Okay, we got to do something. Okay, listen.
Okay.
For Christmas, we're going to wear our red hats on. Let's do that.
Sounds
Let's
good.
not forget
Okay.
that. All right, guys, listen.
Yeah.
Thanks, and
No, guys.
we'll catch you next week. Take care.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.